What's up, everybody? It's your boy Toxie Boyo, and as I'm pretty sure you guys have seen by now, Warner just announced that they are going to be releasing Wonder Woman 84 on HBO Max and in theaters on Christmas Day. Going to be a double release, and there's been a lot of discussion in the industry as to whether or not this type of approach is the future of filmmaking. And I want to discuss it because film is something that I take very seriously. It's very important to me. Um, The question has been asked for a while. Are movie theaters dying? Is streaming going to take over? How can streaming and the cinema still exist? Or how can they coexist? Um the state of the world has forced that question to come up more often than it ever has before. Obviously a lot of things happened this year that we couldn't expect. I mean, like one of the last major movies to come out was Sonic the Hedgehog. Um And since then, film after film after film have been postponed, delayed, indefinitely, only released on streaming, stuff like that. And you have movies that came out on streaming and did exceptionally well, like Trolls World Tour. And then you have movies that died on arrival, like Scoob. And you have movies that came out strictly in theaters and did decently, did okay, like Tenet. And you have movies that flopped, like Unhinged. You have movies that came out with a dual release and still flopped, like Bill and Ted Face the Music. You have movies that came out strictly on streaming and died instantly, like King of Staten Island. Um, I think to be as general as possible, the answer is no. Video on demand, like releasing a movie on a streaming service. We'll talk about video on demand after, but releasing a movie that had 150 million to 200 million to maybe even 250 million dollar budget strictly on a streaming service is not realistic. Um, and the main reason for that is you do not recoup that money. You do not make a profit in the same way that you would if it had a wide release. Because imagine it this way: take Black Widow for example, or in this particular instance, Wonder Woman 1984. A family of four goes at matinee on a Friday at AMC to see this movie. Four tickets, two adults, two children. It would cost about 30 something dollars for this group of four to see the movie. But um if you release it strictly on HBO Max costs $14.99 a month. This entire family of four can watch the movie as many times as they want for a fraction of $14.99 a month. Because obviously everybody's subscription cost to HBO Max is, pooling into a sum, right? And it's easy to track, how much time was spent watching what. And Wonder Woman 84 is obviously going to get a lot of watch time when it comes out. But if somebody's paying $14.99 a month for the thousands of hours of content that exists on HBO Max, and they watch Wonder Woman 84 twice, that's about 5 hours. That would equal like half a cent of what their subscription cost is. You can't make back the money that you spend on a big budget blockbuster superhero movie by strictly releasing it on a streaming platform at no extra charge. And on that topic, releasing it on a streaming platform at an extra charge like Mulan did also isn't the way to go, especially when that price is kind of exorbitant. $30 to rent, was it rent or to unlock access? I actually don't remember specifically, but still, a $30 paywall on a streaming service that only costs $7 a month is kind of absurd. Why am I paying 4 months worth of subscription to watch this movie? And the movie wasn't very good, from what I understand. I don't know. I didn't pay to watch it, so I haven't really talked about it before. I mean, I have my opinions on it on Disney live action remakes, but that's a different conversation. So as we just got done discussing, releasing it strictly on a streaming service is not going to get you the profit that you need. On the other hand, putting it on video on demand, making it 19.99 to rent for 48, maybe 72 hours, is a better way to go about it, because that way they can't watch it infinitely at no extra cost. If after the rental period expires, they want to rent it again, they have to re-rent it, or they have to wait until it comes out on digital. Well, if it's on video on demand, it's probably on digital, or they have to wait till it comes like the Blu-ray comes out or something like that. You're more guaranteed to get money directly from that film's existence if they're paying directly to watch it. That's how that works. Um, Now, the dual release model is a good idea. It seems like the more responsible thing to do this year. That way, if you want to go have that big cinema experience, you want to go to AMC, go to Cinemark, watch it in AMC Prime, Cinemark XD, whatever you want to do, want to watch it in 3D, you can still do that. You can still have that experience that you want, because a lot of people like me love going to the theater. I love watching a big movie on a big screen. The experience of being in that theater surrounded by people who have at least one interest in common with me, and we're all there for the same reason, to watch this movie. It's a great experience. There's not a whole lot like it apart from like being at a concert. You know what I mean? It's it's just nice, and it's hard to replace, and it's a thing that clearly a lot of people enjoy. I mean, Avengers Endgame made $2.7 billion. People like going to the theater, sometimes multiple times, to see the same movie. So obviously, theaters under normal circumstances would not be in danger of just going away. This is an unforeseen circumstance, and none of us could have prepared for this. I do think that movie theaters can recover from this. I mean, AMC maybe is in a rough spot, Cinemark, but like there are other movie theaters out there, and they will reopen, you know. And when that happens, people that have been starved for that movie going experience are going to go see a movie. Now, the reason that I think Tenet underperformed, to be honest, Christopher Nolan's films are not all typically blockbusters. Apart from the Dark Knight trilogy, they don't all make a super crazy amount of money. I'm going to look up Dunkirk's box office real quick. Hopefully, there's not too much dead air while I do this. I'm pretty good at typing and talking about two different things at once. Dunkirk made $526 million. Tenet made roughly 350 to $400 million in theaters. That's not a huge difference. It's not something to where it's so different that you can just outright blame it on COVID-19 happening. Um, and for a little bit more reinforcement, let's do Interstellar real quick. Interstellar made 700 million. That's a bad example. I know Inception made a lot. 800 million. Okay. Let's do The Prestige. Please, something back up my point. Prestige, $100 million. So, Dark Knight Trilogy, Inception, Interstellar were his biggest movies. Memento, I know, didn't do super well. As we just discussed, Prestige didn't do super well. I feel like Tenet is just one of those Christopher Nolan movies that doesn't do super well. And that's okay. That happens sometimes. But consider the following: Warner or Disney decided to put Wonder Woman 84 or Black Widow strictly on their streaming services at no extra charge. They would make a pretty decent amount of money. They might get some new subscriptions, some new free trials just to watch these movies, but they're not going to make the $500 million minimum that they're going to want to make off of this. And as a result, they might not make another Wonder Woman movie because they lost a lot of money on it. Sure, it's a rough situation that a lot of people didn't see coming, but they didn't make the money that they wanted to. Or if they do make another Wonder Woman movie, they produce it for way cheaper, or they relegate her to an HBO Max series instead of movies from now on. You know, the same thing with Soul is coming out. This is probably going to be one of Pixar's only flops because it's not coming out in theaters. I just don't see a whole lot of people making a big deal out of watching it on Disney Plus. I mean, obviously, it will always be there to watch, so it's going to always be making at least some money. But the release window is not going to bring in the 700 something million dollars that the original Wonder Woman movie made. And it's stuff like that that I think is why streaming isn't going to completely take over the movie going cinema experience. People still love going to see movies. This is just a really bad situation. What they're doing with Wonder Woman 84 is smart, and I think it is going to work, but I don't think it's going to be the standard for mainstream film release, at least not in the future. Um, it will happen more. More studios will experiment with it, but it's not going to be the norm. Spider Man Homecoming is not going to launch exclusively on Disney Plus, and it's likely Spider Man Homecoming. Spider Man 3 is not going to launch exclusively on Disney Plus, and it's likely not going to have a dual release. I think that, uh, what's another big movie that's coming out? Fast and Furious is probably only going to come out in theaters. Um, The Kingsman could come out on Disney Plus and in theaters at the same time. Kingsman isn't exactly a huge franchise, and this is a prequel spin-off type of situation. So, like I said, you're going to see it more often, but it's not going to just completely take over. Or at least that's my take on the situation. If you made it this far, let me know what you think about it. Is Warner doing the right thing here? What is the future of mainstream film release? What do you think is going on with that situation? Whatever it is, whatever you think about below Ninja Gaming is always for more videos from me. Go ahead and click the screen, ring that bell, subscribe, like, share with your friends, rate 5 stars, favorite, hit the green subscribe button, and hit that join button. And I'll see you soon.